Welcome back. You're watching Ayubowan Sri Lanka, and we are speaking to Mr. C.A. Chandraprema, political correspondent of the island. So in the second half, we just spoke about the allegations of corruption and and what basically Mr. Chandraprema said was that it was based on a lot of false information, and the statistics and the figures that was quoted in many email campaigns during the election was arrived at arbitrary. And he said that it is extremely important to differentiate the truth from the falsehood, because it could have had adverse effect on the investor community abroad as well. And on that note, we can move on to the issue of the GSP Plus. Is it going to be suspended, and what is your take on it?
Yeah, well, I have been sort of I was following the GSP Plus issue until say several weeks before the election. I must admit that I sort of lost touch with what was happening, but so far as I know, it has not yet been suspended. There's a recommendation for its suspension by the European Commission, but the European Union Council has not ratified it as of yet. So the suspension, if at all, will take place only when the Union Council ratifies it. Now, if you ask me what option the government has with regard to the GSP Plus issue, the simple answer to that is this, that well, I did some research on that myself. What they should do is simply go before the WTO, because we are a member of the WTO. We have not made use of the dispute resolution mechanism of the WTO, except we have not really made use of it at all. In fact, there was just one issue which was just tabled there, and nothing really happened. That was a minor dispute with regard to some coconut exports to Brazil. Now, this is a much bigger issue, right? All right. Since we are members of the WTO, we have a right to go there and make use of their dispute resolution mechanism. Now, the way that can be done, I think I have extensively explained in writing in the island, say in August last year, say August, September last year. But what I would like to say with regard to GSP Plus is this, which the people of the country should know. Now, this is a trade concession given to Sri Lanka by the European Union. Now, all these trade concessions that are given to developing countries are based on certain rules and regulations of the World Trade Organization. Now, when you withdraw any such concession, it has to be in accordance with the laws set out in the WTO. You can't flout the international rule of law. No country can do that. The EU can't do that. They should not do that. Now, the issue with regard to GSP Plus is this, that the European Commission put out 2 reports last year about human rights violations in Sri Lanka and certain other shortcomings in the legal system and so on. And it is on that basis that they have put forward this recommendation for suspension. Now, I took a very close look at those 2 reports to see what the merits of those reports were, and I found that I'll just give you one example. I can't go into it at length here. I'll just give you one example. In that report, there was the accusation made that there were many instances of rape in the north and east in the IDP camps, that Tamil refugee women were being raped. Now, that was a human rights violation. One of the reasons, that is one of the reasons why they have recommended that GSP Plus be suspended. But if you look, I just checked back. I just went back and took a look as to where they got this information from. Where did the compilers of the European Commission report get this information from? They had got it from the UNHRC, the UN Commission for Refugees. Then I checked the UNHRC report to see where they had got these details from. They had got it from the International Crisis Group. I went to the International Crisis Group report to see where they got it from. Then it was from an organization called South Asians for Human Rights. And thankfully, I was exhausted by that time. The trail stops there. All right. This was a team of people who from the South Asians for Human Rights, calling themselves South Asians for Human Rights. Right. They had come here and done some. They had talked to people, various people. They had gone to the north and east. They had visited the border villages. They had visited refugee camps and spoken to the women there. Now, when you looked at that research, what they say is this. They had spoken to Sinhala women living in the border villages, and what those Sinhala women had said was that there are a lot of police and army personnel in that vicinity, and some of them make various sexual requests, which they sometimes have to, they just to get rid of these people. They are pests, sexual pests. To get rid of them, they have to satisfy those people. Now, when this went into the international crisis group report, the Sinhala women became